Welcome to a Community Partners interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Shayna Dowd Rutherford, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today I'm joined by Evan Kelly, the Communications Manager for Developmental Disability Association. The Developmental Disabilities Association maximizes the potential of individuals with developmental disabilities and their families through lifelong programs, supports, and advocacy. Over 1,800 individuals and families in the Vancouver and Richmond areas are served by the DDA every year. Good afternoon and welcome, Evan.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. Why don't you tell us a bit more about you and what inspired you to work at the Developmental Disability Association, and why work with individuals with disabilities?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I come from a background in media. I sort of honed my communications and messaging and storytelling skills at News 1130 Radio here in Vancouver. We're actually in Richmond, but our head office. But and so you know, media is not that great for families. So when I started having a family, I needed something a little more 9 to 5 ish, and so I got out of news radio and into corporate communications. A few years later, I found myself here, and I just remember seeing this posting and just being a little bit moved about the idea of being able to work for an association that's philanthropic in nature and gives back and supports some of the most vulnerable people around. And I've been here for about 5 or 6 years now, and that still holds true today. I mean, we had a big event the other day in one of our local parks that we do every year, and you just get to know these wonderful people that we support, and it's just great knowing that there are organizations like DDA around that do this kind of thing.
Indeed. How did the DDA get its start?
Oh, that's a long story. It goes back to 1952, with one mother who refused to sort of uh, do what was standard back then. As often, like, she had a child who was born with Down syndrome, and doctors back then would often say, "Well, it's best just to hide your child away in an institution or forget they ever exist." And she bucked that idea and bucked the trend and decided that she was going to keep her son with her and raise him as anybody else in the community. And she got together with 11 other families at that point, and basically started the association. They were, and by the early '60s, they had opened one of the first, if not the first, special needs school here in Vancouver, and by the '80s, we were seeing full inclusion in the public school system. So it really started over 70 years ago with one woman who refused to give up on her son, and that's where we find ourselves today. We have over 50 programs now. We have about 20 group homes, with anything from infant development programs all the way to 24/7 assisted living, almost from birth till death. And our IDP program, the infant development program, was again another groundbreaking thing that DDA essentially did first, and it became something that was offered across the country and even globally. And we're very proud of that aspect.
Let's go a little deeper into this. I see on your website you have a lot of programming. Can you expand a bit on what type of programming you offer? You mentioned that you're working from basically birth to life with wraparound programs and servicing.
Yeah, we go, like, again, we have infant development that sort of begins there. We understood that early intervention had better outcomes in the future. We've got we run 9 inclusive child care or child development centers in Richmond and in Vancouver, with the mandate of having 25% of the spaces reserved for kids who have developmental disabilities. After that, we've got after school care. We've got what's called our leisure challenge program, which is for teens to hang out and connect with people. And in that case, our leisure program just got a brand new van. Don't want to go on a tangent here, but we just got a brand new passenger van to again create that more of an inclusive feel for our young people and our teens. And then we've got family support programs, because sometimes there's a difficulty we find between when a child sort of ages out of support, then they transition into adulthood. So we've got family support for things like that. We've got, again, as I mentioned, we've got our assisted living. We've got community apartment programs, whereas some people are essentially independent, but they need supports here and there. And then again, straight into our 24/7 group homes, which is they're just really nice houses in Richmond and Vancouver that we have two, three, or four people living, and it's fully supported 24/7. And then we also have a couple of enterprise programs for employment. We've got our Jobs West program, which helps facilitate employment for people with developmental disabilities. And that's where we work with clients and with businesses to facilitate success. And, we find about 100 people a year jobs in that respect. And we also have what's called our Starworks business in Vancouver. And that's a kitting and packaging business that we employ between 30 and 40 people with developmental disabilities as well. And that's been ongoing since the year 2000. That's the abridged version of what we do.
I see on the website that you have a news and resource section. What goes into the news and resource section?
Oh, that's just me doing blogs. We've got things that people, information that people can come to on our website for supports and direction. We do a lot of blogging. We do a lot of podcasting. And a few years ago, we hired a dedicated videographer, and so that's where a lot of these larger pieces come into play. And our videographer, actually, if you're interested and you have time, on our website is our documentary Doing the Impossible. It actually won 3 BC Leo Awards, and we're shortlisted for a number of other awards in terms of the documentary. It really takes you from the beginning of DDA into where we are today.
So, Evan, are there any restrictions to becoming a member of the Developmental Disability Association, such as age, disability type, caregivers, or family members, things of that nature?
Well, not really. I mean, it also depends what you mean by member. I mean, we're one association of many associations in British Columbia and Canada, and our Community Living British Columbia is our umbrella group. So a lot of the clients we have are sort of vetted through CLBC, and they come to us as a referral. Uh, in terms of limiting what the disabilities are, I mean, obviously we deal with cognitive disabilities. I mean, if you have a physical disability, that's not really just in our purview. Understanding, of course, that some cognitive disabilities come with physical disabilities, but yeah, we just really just focus on developmental disabilities. People with low IQ and just need those kind of supports.
Very good. So, without using any names, can you share a success story with us? What supports were put in place when someone asked for help?
The big success stories to me are often in a couple of our programs. One is our Jobs West, which I mentioned, which is our employment, and it's really nice to see the successes there, because there's lots. These are people who wouldn't normally be offered positions, and these are fairly entry level positions, of course, and we get lots of success stories, and they stay at the job for years, decades, 15 years even. And every year, and coming up this year, actually, we've already begun videoing it as our employer of the year. This year, it's going to be Pedal Heads out here in Vancouver. So that's an organization that is hiring people with developmental disabilities and giving them a chance. And it's really great to see that these people can really just explode in these positions and see lots of success and independence in their own way. The one other thing to me that I really like to champion as well is our art program here. We run a really robust art program as one of our day programs, and the talent we have actually with our artists is just undeniable. And our artists are involved in about 8 or 9 art shows every year, and it's really nice to see their expression and what they are managed to put together. It's stuff anybody would want to hang on their walls. We even have a woman who's doing sculptures, and she's blind. It's just really unbelievable to see the level of talent and inclusion in this community.
That's excellent. So as it relates to your employment program, what support generally do you put in place for the members?
That's not super easy for me to talk to specifically because it's not really my department. But it's really just guidance. It's finding out what the individual wants to do in a job, where they might like to work, and obviously what some of their abilities are and what their limitations might be. But it's also working with the organizations and helping them create that diverse workforce, because people with disabilities, that's one of the biggest untapped talent pools in the country. So it's nice to be a part of that community and putting that stuff into place.
What is the one thing you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be? Any ideas how we can stop them?
Well, one of the biggest things that was back in 1952 that is happening today, and it's getting better, is just perception. Our the in a typical developed person, it's our perception that is really the disability. It's not that people are necessarily even disabled, even physically. It's the environment which they live, which causes the disability, in a sense, if you understand what I mean. So we need to constantly change perception, constantly drive inclusion, and constantly maintain the idea that accessibility really matters. We need to really look at what we're doing in our society and make sure that universal design, universal concepts are adopted in everything we do. So it really comes down to an acceptance, inclusion, and accessibility.
Well said. Well put. Do you have any events coming up?
Coming up at the moment, no, I don't think so. We just had what we do is our walk and roll at Trout Lake here in Vancouver. If you're familiar with the area, we do that every year. There was about 200 of us out there yesterday. Basically, it's a walk around Trout Lake. Whether you're able to walk on your legs or use your wheelchair, you come on out and do that. And we have a big pizza party, and the sun was shining, and it was just a really great time.
Fantastic. If somebody's interested in becoming a member or a volunteer with the association, what's the process?
We do have a membership available to people if they want to be a part of it, and that gives you, access to all of our blogs, all of our newsletter. We do publish a quarterly hard copy newsletter. It's like a magazine. We call it the Star Magazine, but that's available online as well. So you'd get access to that. You'd get access to voting at our board annual general meeting, should you be interested in that. That can be done online. There's just the Join Us tab on our website, and it's $15 a year. It's really not that expensive or anything like that. Volunteering is a little tougher. I think COVID changed a little bit of that layout. What we do take part in is the Canada Summer Jobs student program, and we hire about 22 to 30 people every year for various programs, even in communications here. In terms of volunteering, we do a lot of practicum work for schools here, typically for people who are wanting to get into the early childhood education field. So we do a lot of that support as well. But in general, volunteering, it's kind of on a case by case basis and an association needs basis. Doesn't happen often. Just straight volunteers. We want people involved who do want to be involved in either children at the educational level and to be dealing with people with developmental disabilities.
If listeners are looking for more information, what's the best way to reach out?
Our website would be the best one, develop.bc.ca. That's got all of our links, all of our social media links, all of the information about who we are. It's got our documentary up there. It's got links to all of our podcasts. Everything you need is right there.
That's excellent. Thank you very much for your time, Evan.
I appreciate it, Shane. Thanks for involving me.
My name is Shayna Dowd Rutherford, and I'm your host today for Community Partners, Voices for Ability Radio. Goodbye for now.